Scott, how's it going?
Very good, Ron. Thank you.
Where are you located?
I'm in Northwest Arkansas.
Cool, cool. And what is it you speak about?
Retailing, specifically omni-channel retailing, and how the retail industry is evolving right now.
Okay, no, that's incredible. It's incredible. And Diamond, what's up? You driving today, Diamond?
I'm not driving today.
Okay, all right. Usually Diamond's in the car driving. Good to see you. It's been a while, you know.
You too.
And Lavana, how are you? Cool. Lavana's doing well. All right, so good to see you
Hey,
guys.
sorry, I was trying to type to you all.
No problem.
I am eating lunch, so I'm going to stay off camera for now. But
No, that's
yes,
perfect.
I just put
What
a
are you
chat.
eating? You gonna share? No, she's not going to share her food with us. Okay. So good to see you all, guys. I'm Ron Story. I am the head of product at SpeakerHUB, and this is our daily co-working session that we do. I'd like to welcome all of you all here. You're free to come every day from noon to 1 Eastern time, where we answer any questions you may have about two specific things. Number one, the speaking business. I will answer any question you have related to getting booked for more speaking gigs, whether those are podcasts, local associations, um, conferences, or press coverage. And the second thing that we always answer are any questions regarding the new Speaker Hub, which includes Speaker Hub profile, the speaker data, speaker CRM, speaker GPT, and what we call speaker VAR, done for you service. So,
Excuse me, Ron.
yep.
Excuse me, Ron. Lavana says she's having a hard time hearing you. She said it's very soft.
Okay, 1 second, let me see. Is anyone else having a hard time? Scott, Diamond, can you hear me?
I can
Ange,
hear you.
am I good?
I hear you fine.
Okay.
All right, it may
Lavana,
just be me, and it won't even allow me to increase the volume on my laptop. Like it's grayed out. So you just keep talking, and I'm
you
going to
know what you
listen.
may need to
You
do?
want?
If you click on the little arrow next to the microphone, you probably can select a different speaker and then come back to the normal same system speaker on your laptop.
Okay, yeah, it's the only speaker I have with my laptop, but I'll figure it out. Go ahead. Thanks.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, this is what we do every day, Monday through Friday. We like to have these sessions. I think it's good for um, our clients to be able to come in to answer any questions that they have, but also our job is to be an amplifier of speakers. We're not here to try to compete with you. We're here to elevate your message and help you to get on more stages. So if at any point in time you feel like I'm saying something to you that may rub you the wrong way, I just ask that you put it back into the perspective of, is he trying to help me or is he trying to insult me? And 99.999% of the time, unless you work for me, I'm probably trying to help you. But we have a lot of running jokes that we have within our team, and nobody's usually offended on our team. So, but I just want to make sure that everyone knows that we're always looking out in your best interest. I am not ashamed to apologize if you ever feel offended. So I will reach out to you privately and give you the utmost respect that you deserve. So, any questions to start off before I get into what I like to talk about, which is the speaker flywheel? Any direct questions that we may be able to put in the parking lot that we can bring up and answer as we go? Scott, I know you're new here. Lavana, this is your first time with us. Diamond was we used to do this weekly, and Diamond was with us for maybe 6 months every week. That's how I know she's normally driving at this time. So, any questions from you, Scott? How long have you been with SpeakerHUB?
Just about a week, so relatively new, and really part of my goal was to make sure I've done the fundamentals, done the basics right from my profile to how I take advantage of the platform because I'm starting from scratch with you. So I'm rooted in the fundamentals today.
No, that makes sense. That's really cool. And are you using SpeakerHUB Pro? Are you doing a trial there or just with the profile?
I think I'm doing pro. I have to remember what level I selected, to be honest. It was
All right.
a week and a half
No,
ago. I think I'm doing pro if I'm not mistaken.
okay. And what's been your experience so far? Have you found it easy to send out the pitches to to do the outreach?
I found that it was relatively easy to create my profile, but I haven't done anything other than that yet. That's part of what I'm wanting to gain the learnings from this session today, because
Right.
I haven't taken any actions yet. And I want to make sure I'm doing the right things in the right order. That's part of why I wanted to listen in.
Perfect. That is perfect, perfect, perfect. So I'm going to bring up something that we call the speaker flywheel. And the flywheel basically teaches our fundamentals of how we think about speaker booking. So, to give you a little bit of background, I've worked with thousands of speakers. In the last year, I worked with 300 speakers as their booking agent, meaning that I did the outreach for them, sending pitches on a regular basis to get them meetings with meeting planners. We don't take credit for the actual booking. And the reason being is because the person has to negotiate that on their own, right? So um, if someone wants to book you, but you can't agree on a price or a date, that didn't mean we didn't do our job. We got you the meeting. Your job is to figure out the dates and the pricing. So we don't take credit for that. You'll always hear us talk about we help get this many meetings. After that, we let you speak for yourself and negotiate on your own. Is that fair? So I want to go ahead and ask your question, Scott, before I get
I
started.
was just going to ask quickly, do you provide any guidance, particularly for someone who's relatively new for me, on what a fair market rate is to charge? Because I've heard various input from others in the past, and I'm just wonder, even though it's up to me to negotiate, do you provide feedback, guidance, recommendations on what to charge?
Yep. So in a lot of ways we don't, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm a firm believer that there's three ways to get paid from a speaking business. You can get paid to show up, which is cool, right? Someone writes you a $5,000 check or a $500 check or a $20,000 check to come talk for an hour. High five, right? But you can also get paid at the event. You can sell your consulting, you can get clients out of the audience, you can do things like that, which is usually going to be more than what your speaking fee would be, right? But also you can get paid afterwards, meaning that, hey, I came, I spoke, they didn't let me sell from the stage, but because they saw me on the TEDx stage, now they want to be my client. And because it was put on YouTube on the TEDx channel, all of these people have seen it, and now my inbox is flooded with people wanting to meet with me, right? So because you can get paid in so many different ways, I really think part of, imagine if I said, Scott, tell me how much we should charge for SpeakerHUB. You're like, dude, this is your business. Why would you be asking me that, right? You're gonna say free, right? Because that's in your best interest. So you gotta always remember that it's your business. You have to understand your customers and the value that you bring to them. And if someone tells me, oh, well, we'll only give you $2,000 to speak, it's up to me to negotiate a secondary method of getting paid. Is that fair? So I don't believe that there's a certain market rate for speakers, right? Because it depends on whether they can sell tickets or if they can drive traffic. All right, Diamond, what's your question really quickly?
Oh, I was letting you finish. I was just putting it in the chat so I didn't forget it. Whenever.
Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah, I'll come back to that because I think
Yeah.
that's a good one. So let me walk through the flywheels for those who aren't familiar with it so that you all understand what everything we do at SpeakerHUB is based around. So the speaker flywheel is our tried and true belief, what we've learned from working with a lot of speakers on how to build a speaking business. And it consists of basically 6 parts. But in order to understand the 6 parts, you really have to understand why we believe this. So the first growth hack that I figured out is that the best speakers are proactively pitching the stages that they want to be on. They're not waiting on someone to find them, right? So, that's the only way to have control over your speaking career is to proactively pitch. The second growth hack is you have to use one stage to get a larger stage. So you may start off with podcasts or small retail associations, Scott, and then that turns into a conference gig. But you don't start in the NBA. You start playing on your high school team, and then you go to college, and then you may make the NBA. But most speakers come right out because someone sold them a how to get rich as a speaker course. And they think, well, I should just get paid 25 grand right now, even though nobody knows me and I've only given this speech once. Well, that's not how it really works. Speaking is a skill. And so you develop that skill by getting on more stages, right? The third growth hack is basically learn to give profitable free speeches. Remember, there's three ways to get paid to speak. You can get paid to show up, you can get paid from the stage and in the back of the room, or you can get paid after the event. Most speakers are only looking to get paid when they show up. The reason being is because they don't have anything else to sell. Only about 30% of your revenue as a speaker in your speaking business should come from you being on stage. The other 70% should come from consulting or courses or intellectual property that you've packaged up that has some type of leverage to it, right? So I pay to get on stage. People don't pay me to show up. I pay to show up. So if there's a stage that I really want to be on, I just reach out and ask if they're looking for sponsors. And one of my requirements for sponsorship is I want 30 minutes on stage. And nobody says no to it because they usually want sponsors. So they're like, dude, we'll give you 30 minutes for 8 grand. Let's do it. Right. So you have to learn to give those profitable free speeches. Then the fourth thing is invest in the right tools and coaching and data sets because that's really where the advantage comes. It's not a surprise that a lot of athletes, their kids, make it to the NBA or professional football or professional baseball. It's because they had their dad to give them the shortcuts, to tell them the right mindset they needed, give them the right coaches and development and training that they needed, right? So I'll give you a great example. Ange is a former professional women's basketball player. I promise you, if she had a daughter, her daughter would be in a better position than everyone else on their team because Ange is already knows what it takes to play professionally. So the way that she would have her daughter working out and training would be totally different than my daughter. My daughter would be out there crying on the court because I never played professional sports. Like, dude, get up. What are you out there doing? She's putting on makeup at half court. That's what my daughter would be doing. So you want to invest in the right tools, whether that's training or data sets, right? So let's get into the flywheel. The first component of the flywheel is making sure that your inbound leads are set up to be effective. If I were to Google you right now, Scott, what would I find? Would I find Scott Benedict or would I find 5 other people maybe with a similar name, right? So let's try it.
Well, you do both, actually. You'd find me and some other people, but
Right.
see what it comes back with.
So let's see. Scott Benedict. Right? So none of these guys look like you.
That's because none of them are me.
Right? Right? So when I type that in, a lot of times when people are looking for a speaker, they're going to put speaker behind the person's name. Right? And look what comes up first, your SpeakerHUB profile. That's on purpose. That's you. Right? So having your SpeakerHUB profile is very valuable. As you can see, when we just type in your name, we don't find you. But when we type in your name and speaker, which is how people search when they are looking for a particular person, and say, oh, the basketball player Ron story or the baseball player Ron or whatever, right? You want to make sure that they find you when they're looking for you. And is this your Macmillan Doolittle?
Yes, that's one of my consulting contract firms. So that's me. And then Analytics Unite is actually something I did previously. So is Retail Wire. So is LinkedIn. So a nice couple are me, but when you just searched on my name, you didn't get it. Now you're getting all my stuff I currently have out there.
Yep. And because it's a speaker, we're going to always rank really high. So they'll get your speaking version first, then they can go to everything else. But that's the key. That's the power of having your inbound set up properly.
Yep.
Now, why is that important? Because when you do outbound, you're going to reach out to people and say, hey, I'm Scott. I speak on retail. I give you my Benedict formula for success in retail, right? And you know what they're going to do? They're going to click the link in your in your signature. They're going to go to your LinkedIn. They're going to go to your webpage. They may even go to your SpeakerHUB profile to verify that you are who you are. So you see how even when you're doing outbound, they're going to come back to your inbound to check you out. So they work hand in hand. They're not mutually exclusive. If you do outbound with no inbound, they're going to find the wrong Scott. Right? But if you just got inbound, you don't have any control over your speaking career. Is that fair? So how do we build this? Well, podcasts, there's 3.5 million podcasts, which means you can reach thousands of people without ever leaving your house, right? Thousands, even hundreds. Most people have never spoken in a room larger than 75 people, but yet they complain when a podcast doesn't have 10,000 listeners. I'm like, dude, the largest audience in real life has been 75 people. Just go in and perform in front of whoever wants to hear what you have to talk about. So podcast is where you start. You use those to turn into association meetings. You take those association meetings that may not pay you a lot to show up, but you get clients out of it. You get those retail clients out of that meeting. And then as you do a few of those associations, it's a lot easier to get comfortable with the conferences. Because if you've never spoken in the front of a room of 750 people, how many people have ever spoken in a room that large? Anybody here? Right? Scott has, right? So what's the difference between speaking in a room with 50 people and 750 people, Scott?
Stress. It's a pretty stressful situation, particularly at the beginning. And when you're uncomfortable, you don't flow as easily. It's not that, but stress, I think, is my headline.
100%. And I'll tell you what causes that stress. The lights. Because you look out at that audience, you can't see anybody. It is a black wall, and you got all these lights down on you. In a room of 20 people, it feels like we're on this Zoom. I can look at each one of you as I talk to you, make the eye contact. A room full of people, I'm looking for my friends. Like, I'm just going to talk to them. And then everybody who's sitting next to them thinks I'm talking in their direction. I'm talking to them too. But you learn these things as you get more comfortable with your message. Then you spend time getting comfortable on the stage, right? But you don't want to be getting comfortable with the message and the stage at the same time. Your message should be on what we call unconscious competence level, meaning that you know that message better than anybody else in the world, and you can give it no matter if it was guns pointing at you or people's eyeballs, because that's what it feels like, right? So that's why we say start with association so that you can nail the messaging before you start hitting up the conferences. Once you've become known as the go-to person, it's a lot easier to get that article in Forbes or whatever retail magazine that you may want to be a contributor for. And that magazine does what? Increases your speaking fees. If I reach out and say, hey, I'm Ron, I'm a Forbes contributor on personal branding. Yeah, you want to come on my podcast? Come on. Because it makes it easier for the podcast host to introduce me. It makes it easier for the conference event planner to sell me to their event committee, right? And it makes it easier for me to justify the money I'm asking for up front, right? So that's basically the speaker flywheel and how we go about it. And this is what we teach. So inside of SpeakerHUB Pro, we always tell people, start practicing with podcasts. The reason being is that podcast will get back to you and can make a decision within a week, right? An association will make a decision for a gig within 30 days. Why? Because they have monthly meetings. So they're usually planning the next month and this month. So you can get a 30-day response and get a gig within 30 to 60 days with association. Conferences are 6 to 9 months out, right? So if you're just hopping in saying, I want to try out SpeakerHUB for a week and I want to see if I'm going to get a conference, cool. Go ahead and send your pitches. You're not going to get a response back that week, probably, right? Because they still have to make their decisions. But 3 months later, you're going to say, oh man, someone called me about a conference. And you're not even going to give us our credit that you sent the initial email 3 months ago in your trial. So we tell you that's why you got to build a machine. Imagine if McDonald's stopped running commercials, right? That's outbound. That's McDonald's. Commercials are outbound. You didn't ask for, they didn't ask you for permission to show you that advertising, that is an outbound marketing message. Imagine if they stopped doing that. They wouldn't be who they are. So as speakers, you have to have a sales engine in your speaking business. And that sales engine is outbound emails and appearing on other stages. So let me show you why that's important. So I'm going to go over here, and I always hear people say, well, podcasts don't pay. People don't really, that's a waste of time. I don't really want to do podcasts. Cool. I think you would be sadly mistaken to do that. Hey, Ron, I found you on a YouTube video. Do you sell consulting packages? That was Friday. Claudine, hey, I saw you talk about how to use LinkedIn to get paid speaking gigs, right? They saw me on YouTube. If I don't go on these podcasts, I don't get these clients. All of these over here on the left, these are people that see me on YouTube and they send me messages, right? So I know it works. You just got to work it, right? So continue to go on podcast as a way to build, because you just never know who's listening. But if you have consulting or other packages to sell, Dennis is proof. Claudine is proof. Felicia is proof. Hey, I saw you on a video with Chantel. Cool, let's set up a time. Bam. Right? I'm turning these right into meetings. Makes sense. Any questions so far? Right? So Diamond, let's go to your question. Go ahead and ask it, because I don't know how to find it.
Okay. So the main question that I had was around, I've been sending pitches for associations and conferences via PitchDB, but I'm having trouble locating conferences that are actually looking for speakers under the conference tab on SpeakerHUB. And I wanted to know, was I
Share the screen?
missing something?
Yeah, let's see.
And okay.
Share the screen, because if you're not, maybe it's a permissions thing. We may need to change your permissions.
And the remaining part to that question was, I do see conferences, it's just they're all tech. And I know that there's, I wanted to know like
Okay,
how
so you're in the
often
wrong
they're updated.
place.
Mm,
You should be in PitchDB. Why
okay.
are you? This is for the free people on SpeakerHUB. Don't worry about this.
Okay.
You should be in PitchDB. So
Okay.
go to your PitchDB account and look at conferences there. There's 45,000. We added 38,000 conferences. No,
Okay.
34,000 conferences on October the 1st.
Okay. Well, that was my main question, because I know you guys acquired SpeakerHUB, so I'm like, there's a whole conference section.
But we put them together.
Yeah.
Okay.
We
Cool.
smashed them together. So everything that you have. So to give you those who are listening a little bit of context, we bought SpeakerHUB on June the 1st, right? Diamond is one of our customers in our competing business to SpeakerHUB before we owned SpeakerHUB. So she's been with us for about a year over in our other company. And when we update the data in SpeakerHUB, we also update the data in the other company now. But she's one of the special privileges people that gets access to it, right? So do you see your conferences over there now, Diamond?
Oh, yeah, that's what I've been doing. I just didn't know if I was missing something in SpeakerHUB.
No, you're not missing anything, but I want to show you something. I want to
Okay.
show you something that's really, really, really important, because this is one thing that we need to do a little bit more training on, but I just talked to the dev team to make this change, right? So whenever we do a search for podcast in SpeakerHUB Pro or PitchDB or PR Pitches, whenever you do a search, there's a thing called filters. And you can see we only show the podcasts that are published, that have published at least an episode since 30 days prior to today. So whatever day we're on, we go back 60 days. And if you've published anything in between that 60-day period, we say that that's a live podcast. Is that fair? Because there's no reason, if the podcast died, you shouldn't be reaching out to it. It's dead, right? So we automatically change this date every day in the software to make sure that you're only pitching active podcasts. Now, in conferences, we have a similar filter, and it's called seasons. And what I had the aha moment is, why don't we change the seasons to make sure that we're only pitching conferences that are in booking season? So next week, this will change. Instead of you having to come in to pick, right now it shows you conferences that are all, so let's say I want sales conferences, right? It's going to show me all 597 sales conferences, but they're not all in season. So if I wanted to be pitching now in November, I should be pitching summer conferences. So I come there and I click that. Now it only shows me the 128 that I should actually be pitching because they're 9 months out. I know they're in booking season right now. Is that fair? Because if I pitch the ones that are in winter that are happening in 2 weeks, I'm wasting my time. I'm like totally wasting time pitching a December conference the first week in November. Unless I'm trying to be an alternate speaker. That's like an advanced approach. If you want to pitch in the same season, you should reach out and say, hey, I would like to be added to your list of emergency speakers just in case someone drops out. That's like an advanced tactic that you can do. But that's how that works. Make sense? So this will be fixed where the seasons change. Here's what the problem is. So we're going to go to quarter. It'll say first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, fourth quarter. And the reason being is that depending on which country you live in, the seasons aren't the same. So I live in South America. Right now, this is springtime in South America, but it's fall in North America, right? So they're coming on here, they're like, well, I picked the spring ones. And they're like, wait, I'm in South America. These are actually American seasons. So we're going to change it to quarters. So it'll say January to March, April to June, July until September, October through December. Does that make sense? So that's feedback from other speakers that I've gotten. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Everything that you see inside of SpeakerHUB is based on the feedback and conversations with guys like you. I've met over 4,000 speakers over the last 5 years on Zoom. And I listen to everything that they say. And some of the stuff I'm like, yeah, we ain't doing that. But a lot of the stuff I'm like, oh, that's a brilliant idea. We're going to do that tomorrow. So that's what we are. Does this make sense, Scott? Right? So basically, if you're in here and I wanted to pitch a conference, I add it to a list, but this one I've already started on. So I'll click continue because I never sent them the pitch. And we've even updated the copy. So now the language is a lot better. I worked on this. Start. Hi. Are you currently looking for speakers for this or future conferences? Right? I'm Maureen, blah, blah, blah. Right? But here's the issue. I changed my name in here when I was doing a demo. But you can see it writes a perfect pitch for that. Right? And this is what we're doing. So, Scott, what you should be doing is pitching podcasts all the time. Let me show you. Let me give you your game plan. Here's the game plan. There are 3 different levels of speakers. I believe there's emerging, who are under 3 years and learning to ask for more than $3,000. There are experienced speakers that are 4 to 8 years and they're earning between this per speech. And I guess we kind of figured out a rubric without me even thinking about it. It's almost like the number of years equals the number of thousands you're probably comfortable with asking about, right? And this comes from me quizzing different speakers, like how long have you been doing it and what do you charge? And they usually kind of fall within this range. So the emerging speakers should be focused on podcasts and associations, right? Now, here are the expectations from our data. If you reach out to 2 podcasts today, you'll end up being on 48 in a year. If you reach out to 3 associations, you'll probably do 12 association gigs. So just following this formula, you should end up with 4 podcast opportunities and 1 association opportunity, right?
Per month.
So Diamond, I know you pitched a lot. What's been your response rate? And I know it's going to vary. Hers may be better or worse than someone else's. But when you pitch, do you get a lot of responses? Do you get a lot of people not acknowledging you? I need to know the truth because we got to fix it if it's not working.
Yeah, so with the podcast, I always like that's most responsive, obviously. With the associations and the conferences, a lot of times we'll get the email that says, here's an application, and then they just have us apply. So it's not a no. Um, I can't gauge. I know podcasts are the most responsive, which is crazy because I took your Speaker Flywheel formula and I like extremed it, and now I'm like having podcast burnout because I've been on probably like 70 podcasts since I joined and actually started
Wait,
pitching.
is that really a
That's
bad thing?
awesome.
It's not translating into income the way I want it
Gotcha.
to.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because I think you hit a good point, right? Now, if I said, okay, let's highlight Diamond. I want to bring her up here, right? So, Diamond, let's talk about your product mix, right? If I wanted to buy services from you outside of speaking, what's available?
So if you, outside of speaking, the main thing that I offer is called Understand and Master Your Energy, which is a reading for people to get a closer, in-depth look at their energy, their purpose, what they're here to do in this lifetime. And then I have a community that I just launched. So those are like the entry points.
And when you did those podcasts, was the community live?
It wasn't. So my call to action was for them to pull their free chart on my website, which will sign them up for my email list.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. But now that you have the community, you have a stronger product for them to go to, right? Because now they can join the. Here's the thing. Here's what a lot of people are. Marketers mess up everything, right? let me tell you, marketers mess up everything because they say, "Hey, come and get a free consultation." Yeah, that's a sales call. You only need to go on 2 of those to realize that it ain't a consultation; it's a sales call, right? So then nobody wants to sign up for those, right? And then we say, "Hey, download our checklist." Well, I download it or I'm driving when I hear it, so I don't remember the links. So let me give you the all-time greatest podcast call to action. Hit me up on LinkedIn. Find me on LinkedIn. It's just my name because they know my name. They don't have to remember www. They don't have to remember any of that. And the podcaster showed them my photo. So when they look me up, Ron Story Jr. on LinkedIn, they're going to find me every time. Now, why is that important? Again, I only teach the things that I know, right? So if I go back into LinkedIn and I go to my page, LinkedIn tells you how many people watching. I always feel like somebody's watching me. That's the big Michael Jackson, right? You can see, I can see that people are finding me via podcast, right? 580 people, 560 people have visited me in the last 90 days. In the last year, 1,200 people, right? Now, a lot of these people come add me as a friend and send me a message, right? Now, why did it go up in June? Because I started hitting SpeakerHUB more. Why did it go up last week? Because we did the Pro Speaker Summit. So everybody was trying to find out who this Ron guy was because we were pretty popular during that week. Does that make sense? So what you want to do is to give them the easiest call to action to find you. LinkedIn. It's professional. They're not gonna see any videos of me twerking on LinkedIn. Even though I don't do that on Instagram. They're just gonna find me doing speaking stuff, right? So that's the easiest call to action, Diamond. Get them to find you on LinkedIn because it's all about relationship at the end of the day, right? It's not about them downloading our product or doing this. It's about the relationship. And then I can translate that over into, hey, if we can help you, sign up. If you look at any of those conversations, I never say, hey, get a free trial with SpeakerHUB. No, hey, glad you connected. Let's hop on a quick intro call, 15 minutes. I can't sell nothing in 15 minutes, right? Does that make sense? How we lower the defenses, but you never know who's listening. So I don't think your 70 podcasts were in vain. What's your game plan with those 70 podcasts? Now, here's my next question.
So,
In the pitches that you sent,
mhm.
did you include the links to your podcast episodes that were relevant to those associations? It's okay to say no, because I see the
I-
look on your face.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. I don't think he's doing that. No.
Yeah. Because they want to try you out.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So you
Yeah.
use that. Part of the flywheel is taking the podcast episodes and including them as demonstrations of trust to the associations. Because before they bring you in, they want to know you know what you're talking about, right? Scott says he works with retail, right? I'm gonna go listen to a few podcasts to see, oh yeah, this makes a lot of sense. Maybe that retail stuff translates over to what we do with SaaS. I should maybe bring him in to help us with that. But I would go listen to him first.
Quick question. How does that affect the deliverability of the emails? Because then it's a bunch of, well, not a bunch, but like if we're with your pro tip of linking our LinkedIn in the signature and putting our phone number, like how many are we including? Like 2 or 3?
So see, we've been thinking about that. We got you, Diamond. We got you. Look what we did. So now you can put your LinkedIn link in there, right? You can put your SpeakerHUB profile, which should have all of your videos that you have, your LET videos and all of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Put that in here and it'll put that in your signature automatically. Does that make sense? So we automatically create these signatures now. You see that?
Oh, no, I got that. I'm talking about like it landing in their junk folder because it's got a bunch of links now.
No, it's not going to land in the junk folder. Trust me.
Okay.
But if you put it there, it's going to put it in the signature of the email.
Okay.
Right? So they can come down and they can check you out. Right? And all you do is in the email, hey, below in my signature, I have a link to a few talks that I've done for other associations. Does that make sense?
Okay. Thank you.
That's how you do it. Right? But that's how you turn a podcast into an association gig. And when you're looking for associations, right? So what's your topic, Diamond? One more time.
Oh, spirituality.
Okay. So a lot of associations are going to have problems with that. And I'm telling you this as a friend, not criticizing your topic. But you have to be able to translate that into something that doesn't sound so airy-fairy or religious so that they can buy into it because your principles are good, right? One of the best teachers ever is John Maxwell, right? But all of his stuff is in the Bible. He just don't say Jesus in every book, but he's just teaching biblical principles. I mean, when you think of BB and CC Winans, the gospel singers, they never mention Jesus in their music, but we know this is Christian music. So the question is it worth me changing a few words on what I talk about in order to reach more people? Or do I stay loyal to the things that people have preconceived notions to and never get my message out? Right? So let me show you how to do that. Right? So you go to this great company called ChatGPT and it's free. Right? And you come on here and what's your website, Diamond? Diamond Drip?
Consulting.com.
Right? So okay, watch this. So let's take this. You take your page and we're going to put it in here. Analyze this web page and Tell me what services this business provides.
Mm.
Boom. Right? So there we go. This is what we got. Now, I'm going to type in, I know sometimes spiritual topics can be offensive and offensive, not offensive, but offensive. And I want to make it can be offensive and
Controversial.
some, yeah, controversial.
Or have preconceived notions.
Controversial for corporate clients. How can we translate the topics into more acceptable terms? Personal strength assessment. Bam! Change that.
So
Right?
what? Oh wow.
Yeah.
What
Right?
was the?
So you just,
Mm.
what was your question? I don't know who's
I was gonna
talking.
say, what was your prompt? That was an awesome. What was the prompt? Ooh.
Right? So I'm a firm believer that ChatGPT works when you tell it the truth. You know how people be trying to find all fancy stuff? I just give it the basics, right? Go look at this website because that's where people are going to click, right? So analyze the web page and tell me what you think this website is about. And it gave me these things, right? And then I said, look, I know sometimes my spiritual topics can be offensive and controversial. Translate this into more acceptable terms.
You just talking to it.
Ain't nothing fancy. It's supposed to be intelligent. So I'm going to trust it to be intelligent.
Well, I love it.
Right? But now, personal strength assessment, authentic leadership, performance optimization. That's all the energy alignment is, but it just sounds airy fairy over here. Change the topics and still be effective.
Okay. Thank you.
Is this
Love
fair?
that.
Yeah.
Now, I know a lot of times people will say, well, man, I don't want to do that. Okay. Tony Robbins did it. He's teaching the same stuff. He just uses these terms and it makes people feel okay about it. So I used to be a person who was very loyal to words. Like, no, don't misunderstand me. If you're offended, so what? And then I realized didn't nobody want to hear what I had to say. So I had to tone it down a little bit.
Yeah.
I had to say, you know what? How about I get better? Instead of telling them to get tougher, why don't I just kind of soften it up a little bit?
Bring it on down.
Yeah. So you know what I do? I talk with Ange and I give her all the curse words and all the things that I'm really feeling. And she says, yeah, so we should talk about this. And I say, that's it. See, I got a real intelligence that translates my BS into acceptable terms. That's why she's
Love
here,
it.
to make sure that I don't say nothing stupid. Right? She's here to translate for me. When I say something off the wall, she says, hey guys, I think what he was trying to say was this. That's it. Right? So, you know, some people on their iPhones, they have Siri. I have Angie. Same concept. Same concept. Right? But is this helpful, guys? How you can translate your things for different audiences. Right? So you remember I said Scott does retail, right? I can take what Scott does in retail. Scott, what's your website?
Or BenedictEnterprises.com.
Okay, right.
Or Benedict Enterprises LLC, sorry.
Okay. So Benedict Enterprises
LLC.com. I don't think there's a www on there.
There it is.
There it is.
That's you, correct?
Financial planning. No.
Let me make sure I'm going to the right page. It may be going to some goofy page. So
Yeah.
let me copy this and go to the page. Can't be reached. So what did I spell wrong?
Take the www off there.
Also, is it prices or
Oh
prizes?
yeah,
Yeah.
that's me. I
Right.
can't spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm enterprises. Yeah, that's pretty stupid.
Yeah. Wow. She just saved you again.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
See?
but it doesn't. I don't think it has a www in front of it
Well,
though.
it took it off. It took the www off on that part. But let me just erase it off and go into Google
Yeah.
and see which one comes up, right?
I know it. I know it's up and running because I was just there. So
So I get All Star Shipping Containers, BEI, Benedict.
The
This one
LLC right
here.
there.
This
This-
one, right?
that's it.
Maybe it doesn't want to work in outside of the US. Right. But let's go into Chat GPT. Maybe they can find it. And let's do it here. Put that in, bam. Right.
Yeah, that's
And
not.
see where they're getting information from. So I think it's guessing. Because it still didn't come up. Right. So you may want to look into that. Because it's still not coming up.
Okay. I'm gonna put. I'm gonna put in the URL in the chat.
Okay. Yeah, and I'll try it again. Right. Is this you? No?
No.
I
In
thought
chat.
that was something else. I'm like, hey, I don't know what I done clicked on. That's somebody's knees. I was about to be
Yeah.
like,
Thank
we
God
about
it's
to get
me.
kicked off the
Not what I
internet.
thought it was.
I'm like, we about to get kicked off the internet going on Scott's Instagram. Let me see what's in the chat here.
Go in chat and you can see the link right there.
All right. So I just clicked on it in the chat, still spinning. And I got pretty fast internet. So not an internet issue. So, but some for some
Ron,
reason,
it came up for me.
yeah, it could just be blocked in certain areas. I don't know why.
Mhm.
But here, I'm gonna just put it in the
Do you want me to
thing
do
and
it?
I'm gonna let ChatGPT do it. That's really, Tony, we'll get to
Yeah.
you in one moment. Tanya, we'll get to you. Give me 1 second. So let's start a whole new chat, GPT. Analyze this website and tell me about their products and services and founder.
Why did you start a new chat? For those who haven't used ChatGPT a lot, will you talk about why you started a new one?
Yeah, so I started just in case if the old one had some old cache problems. ChatGPT is good, but it's not perfect. So sometimes you got to hit the reset button. And starting a new chat
Mm-hmm.
hits the reset button. And you
Okay.
sell dietary supplements and things of that sort. Is this you?
No, it's not the first one. It's the second paragraph right there.
Okay, right. So it's this one. Okay.
Yeah.
Second paragraph is the company I'm looking for. The first one is from. Now, is that better?
There we go.
All right. Scott will be wants to speak to software companies and apply the retail principles he knows. Give me a list of topics that he can use for this audience. Right, so now let's say you wanted to switch industries, but you wanted your stuff to translate. So I'm saying Scott's going to go from retail over to software companies.
Yep.
Now, does he have to use all 13 of these? No, but he can find 3 of them that'll be really good, like omni-channel experiences, right? Leveraging data analytics for customer insights, cross-channel marketing, loyalty programs, UX design. All of this is important, whether you're doing retail vitamins or retail software, right? This is the power of using GPT, guys, and developing for more stages, not just the one stage that you're comfortable on, but you got to be able to go on any stage and talk about. I go on any podcast. You can invite me anywhere. Hey, we got a podcast for cowboys that like to break dance. Cool. When they come on there, I'm gonna teach them why they should be giving speeches on that topic. Right. So Tanya,
Okay,
what's your question?
so
Is this helpful, Scott?
Yeah.
So I just stumbled across you guys. So I already see value. So thank you. So I am a speaker. I have an HR consulting firm and I speak to grow business. My topic is multi-generations in the workplace. It's a hot topic. And I love what you
What's
just
that called? Nepotism? No, I'm just joking.
and so
multi-generation in the workplace, that's nepotism.
Oh, it could be. So my goal this next year in 2025 is to look for a platform. So I see SpeakerHUB, but I'm trying to get into some more stages. I do about maybe 8 or 10 a year, but I want to do a little bit more to kind of amplify it. And I do use Chat GPT. So I love what you said. It's intelligent. Tell it what it needs to tell it. So I just stumbled across you guys and I said, let me just go ahead and see what's happening. And so you guys do demos or what?
Yeah, I'll show you. So this is basically our product. It's called SpeakerHUB Pro. And Diamond has been using us for a while, so she can attest to whether it works or not. And basically what you can do is you fill out your basic profile here. So I got 5 minutes. So I'm going to do this in 5 minutes to show you
Okay,
how
that's
quick it
fine.
works, right?
I went
So
in
we're
and
going to
say I
type
get
in
that.
Tanya Morris,
Morris.
right? And what's the name of your business? Simply HR?
No. I got 2. I got a speaker website. It's Tanya Morris Speaks.
Okay, but that's the name of the business?
Well, my business is Simply HR, but
Okay.
I have a speaker website. So
No,
I
that's
have
fine.
all my
I just
stuff.
wanted the
Okay.
business name. So we're on the same
Okay,
page.
Simply
here.
HRINC in Atlanta,
Yep.
Georgia.
Right.
You probably want
And
to put
what's your,
ink
are
out
you,
there.
okay.
CEO,
Are you, right.
founder,
So
and
most
CEO.
people aren't going to be looking for a CEO to speak. They're going to look for a speaker, expert, consulting, something of that. They're not saying, well, let's find a CEO. They're
Okay,
saying,
that's
let's,
good to know.
so in the job title inside of our thing, what do you want to put? Speaker, consultant, coach, what are you?
I think I'll put speaker for what I'm
Okay.
trying to do.
Okay,
I
perfect.
like that. Thank you for that.
And you help what to do what?
I equip leaders to lead across generations and communicate across generations. I got to work on that, but I help leaders lead and communicate across multi-generations in the workplace.
I can't spell that. So let me give you a little bit of my perspective. When you say multi-generation, I think in the same family. So you may want to say different,
Inner.
like age groups across different age, multi-generational age gaps in the workplace, dealing with 20-year-olds and dealing with 65-year-olds.
That's
If that's
fine.
what you're trying
Okay,
to say.
that's
But
good.
do you see what I mean? Because when
Yeah.
I think multi-generation, I think nepotism. Like I'm going to hire my kids, right?
Well, and they do that, but as a lot of people say intergenerational in the workplace because it's different generations, baby boomers, Gen
Yeah,
Zs
let's
or
do
whatever.
that.
Whatever.
Across intergenerational workplace, right?
hmm I like that. Thank you for that observation because that could be.
Right. And What's your webpage again you were going to give me?
You want the Simply HR one or the Tanya Morris Speaks one?
The Speaks one.
Tanya Morris Speaks.com.
Okay. And we'll leave off the LinkedIn for right now because
Yeah.
just in the effort of time. So just by putting that in, Tanya, if we were to put in your LinkedIn, it would get a bit more specific, but we're going to click regenerate with AI. It's going to write a full bio on you in about 45 seconds, right? So if you give it a second here, you'll see it's going to rewrite this entire thing that's talking about Maureen, right?
Oh, it has my little as a seasoned speaker and a generational connector. I, Tony Morris, am dedicated. Oh, yeah, because I'm known as a generational connector. Okay.
See,
All
hey,
right.
this AI ain't that,
Yeah,
ain't that
I ain't
bad, right?
playing. My approach rooted into the. Okay, I love it, love it, love it.
Right. So right after that, now it's automatically matching you with podcasts. You see that?
Oh, yeah, we
Instantly,
need to
we're
talk.
already automatically matching you with podcasts.
When you say matching, what does that mean? Meaning that I need to go on these podcasts?
Yeah, you didn't have to search. You notice they just popped up and they're automatically relevant to you.
Well, what about what about speaking gigs? That's something totally different.
Yeah, but they're all in here. I was just showing you
Oh,
podcast
okay.
first because that was the next tab, right? And if I wanted to go on that one, all I do is add it to a list. And I click pitch. It's going to look at that bio we wrote. It's going to look at the
Look
topic
at
on that
this.
podcast. And in about 10 seconds, it'll write a full pitch for you. So there it
Okay,
is.
well, I need to sit down with you guys sooner than later.
Yeah. So what you can do is you can go to speakerhub.com and get a trial. And then we do this meeting every day. Every day at noon, we're on live for anybody to hop in to ask questions. And we hop in and we do what we've done today. It costs you nothing. You can hop in. We'll help you send out your pitches, show you how all of this stuff works. So this is what this is, right?
So let me ask a question. Is the meetings every day the same thing?
No, it's different topics. It's the same people, me and Ange,
Yeah.
but different people come in and whatever you want to talk about. So, our goal is to help you to do two things. Get on more stages,
Yeah.
right? And answer questions about our tools. That's all that we do in these meetings, Monday through Friday.
Oh, okay. Well, I think I've heard of you guys. You guys are connected with NSA, right?
Yep, we're big sponsors with NSA.
Yeah,
And
you've been in
sponsor a
conferences and
newsletter
stuff.
that goes out. Yep, we sponsor a newsletter that goes out twice a week through NSA.
Well, you may be an answer to prayer. I don't want to take it up, but you may be an answer to prayer because my goal was to amplify 2025, and this may be the answer.
Well, I think we are. There it is. Put that on a T-shirt. You guys are answer to my prayer. That is marketing at its best.
So do I need to set up with somebody that just kind of look at prices and all that?
So I'm going to put the link in the chat. And Ange, yep. So I put the link in the chat there, speakerhub.com. And then you can always rejoin tomorrow. And once you get signed up, come back on tomorrow. We'll answer any questions. Yeah. Unfortunately, guys, I have to end today because of the time change. I didn't adjust my calendar, and I have a 1 o'clock meeting who's outside of the room. Scott, what's your question really quickly?
So I'm showing that according to my receipt, I'm emerging is my level, but that's not what my profile shows. Can Angela help me with that?
Yep. So let me show you here, right? So let's see. So I can come here and
you send me mine. Okay, send me mine.
Scott Benedict. Right. So we have you in the emerging program, which is podcast associations and press.
Okay, but that's not what my profile. When I go in there, it won't let me look at any of those. So
okay, let's see. So I'm going to log into your account right now.
I'm sorry to make you late, man.
No. They're not in the room yet, unless they're already in here. I don't see them.
Well, it looks
What's
like
the person's name?
1 second here. It is with Ted Meyer.
Yes, Ted is here.
Hey, Ted. Sorry, our meeting's going a little bit long. I apologize. Give me 2 seconds to clean this up. So you can see when you go to associations, they're there. I'm inside of your account right now, Scott.
Okay.
And it says emerging over here. So
all right.
It gives you access to everything but conferences. in the
All right.
emerging.
So I'll play with that a little bit. If I got any questions, I'll come back on tomorrow. Okay.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. I appreciate
take
it.
care.
See you all tomorrow.